Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sneha and today I'm going to be reviewing the newly launched products from Charlotte Tilbury, which is their Airbrush Flawless Foundation and also their new color correctors, and these are called the Magic Vanish correctors. So if you'd like to see how these products perform, please continue watching. So let's talk about the foundation first, because this was the focus of the launch. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen that I've gone for the launch party. That's how I got my hands on the foundation and the corrector. This is what the outer packaging of the foundation looks like. Quite beautiful. Typical Charlotte Tilbury, very pretty in packaging. You do get the shade name on top with the logo. You do have the ingredients on the back of the carton. Nothing is on the bottle. Now, it claims to be a full coverage foundation with a flawless, matte, long-lasting finish. And it says apply your airbrush flawless foundation, blending outwards from the center of your face for a flawless airbrushed finish. So I think it's keeping in line with her airbrush flawless finish powder, which is such a beautiful powder. You guys know that I love that powder and I've used it for quite a few years now. So the launch of this foundation does make me very happy. Now, they launched with 44 shades, which I'm so proud of, and especially when you look at the shade range, I'm going to insert a picture right here that I took from the event. The shade range is more focused on, I wouldn't say focus, but I'm glad that there are so many more shade options for the tan to dark skin tones, deep dark skin tones. Having said that, I do think she could expand a few more shades in the light spectrum. I do think there can be more options for lighter skin tones. I think these products are going to launch towards the end of August, and the foundation I know is going to retail for around £34, which is I think a good price for the foundation. And you do get a full 1 fluid ounce or 30 ml, which is a standard amount of foundation you get. When you are going into the store to test this foundation, just make sure you keep it on your skin for a few minutes, because I do think that the product kind of dries down a bit. And that is something I was told even at the launch party, because the artist that was helping me with the shade selection did tell me that the shade would change a bit in a while. So that's something you might want to consider if you're purchasing this foundation. For the corrector, she's launched with 4 shades. I was matched to shade number 3, which is tan, which has this beautiful orange color. And I will insert a picture right here so you can have a look at some of the other shades. Now, getting back to the foundation, it has 4 main ingredients, which was the focus for the launch. The first one is a magic Complexion serum. So she did say that the foundation does contain serum, and it especially contains Complexion at 2%, which she said is a concentration that is in serums. So it is as effective as using a serum on your face. So they did combine skincare with this particular makeup product. So if you're in for combining skincare and makeup, this may be a product for you. So in clinical trials, this product, Complexion, in this foundation has been shown to reduce wrinkles by 22%, and that was after a period of 8 weeks of continued use of the product. So if that's something you're looking for, this can be a great choice. Secondly, it's supposed to have something called an air con. So from what I understood about this is that it keeps your skin cool, if that makes sense, and also makes it feel fresh on the skin. And that is something I noticed. I actually went there with a full face of makeup, obviously. And when they applied this foundation on my skin, it just felt very cooling. I wasn't sure if it was the air conditioning or what, but it was very cooling. And I did now swatch again on my hand, and this foundation does have, initially when you do apply it, it does have a very cooling effect. And I've heard even Hindish was at the event, and they did say that in hot countries like Dubai, where they have probably tested this foundation, it did stay put all day, even in the extreme heat conditions that they have. So that is promising for this foundation, especially if you live in a hot and humid country. This may be a beautiful product for you. It contains CT Defense. I'm thinking it's Charlotte Tilbury Defense, which is supposed to protect you from pollution. Again, I'm not sure about the details of this, but that is one thing they claim about this foundation. And lastly, it contains something called moss cell tech. So it's supposed to be derived from moss, which has been around for, I think, 500 million years or 500,000 years, something crazy, a really long time. But it's supposed to be extracted from moss, and it's supposed to boost hydration in the skin. So this foundation, I think within 1 or 2 hours of wearing it, you're supposed to have an increase in hydration in your skin by up to 200, 202%, something around that range. It sounds like it's supposed to be good for more or less all skin types, but I think it might be good for definitely normal to combination skin types. It's supposed to be a stay all day wear formula, so we're going to test that today. It's supposed to also have weightless full coverage. I definitely agree to that. Depending on how much you apply, I applied less than a full pump of this foundation all over my face, and that did give me quite a solid medium coverage, I would say, and I could go in with a second layer or just dot it on areas that I need more coverage to get a full coverage. This foundation is buildable, as I'll show you in the demo in a minute. It also claims to be flawless, poreless, natural looking matte skin. Now, I don't think it's fully matte, but it is a demi-matte foundation, especially before I went in with the setting spray. It is pore minimizing, but not completely. So even now, if I come close, I have used the foundation and also the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder, and my skin looks pretty smooth, but I can still see the texture in my skin. It looks quite natural, which is quite normal, I feel like. We don't need to cover every single pore on our skin, but it is more forgiving than other foundations, if that makes sense, which have a matte finish. Within the range of foundation shades, they do have 3 undertones. So they have neutral, warm, and cool undertones. Not for every single number, like 8 and 9 don't have neutrals, they just have warm and cool for those numbers. Whereas 7.5 and I think even 7 has neutral, warm, and cool. So as far as the foundation is concerned, it's not a good match for me. I am going to insert a picture from the event where they did swatch, I think 4 shades on my jawline. And of that, this is the shade that looked the best in terms of the lighting. It was an indoor event, so whatever lighting we had for that. So this is 7.5 neutral, but when it comes to 8, 9, I did not see a neutral shade, so I think I might have to, maybe later when I go back into the store once it launches, I might have to go into the warm category, so get either 7.5, 8 or 9 and try those shades. Or maybe mix in that with this to get something more neutral for my skin. So I am going to look like a ghost. I did try this foundation yesterday and I had to bronze the heck out of my face to kind of make it look kind of normal. So that's what I'll do today too. Going to apply the foundation with their Hollywood Complexion brush. Now the foundation does come with a pump. So this is what that looks like inside. And you can control how much product, so it's like a smooth pump, which is excellent. It is going to look crazy, but hopefully we can make this work with bronzer. It does have a fragrance to it, like a soft floral scent. I'll have to check if the foundation does contain any fragrance. Just going to apply it to half of my face so you can see the coverage. This is what it looks like. So other than the shade not being correct, foundation looks quite nice. It does have like a demi-matte finish. It's not too dewy, at least on the moisturizer that I'm using. It's meant for oily skin, and in this hot weather I do not want to use anything too rich. So this is the moisturizer I've been using. This is the La Roche-Posay Effect Cloud Duo Plus. So it does give like a demi-matte finish. At the same time you can still see the natural highlight going to even out the other half. They did mention that the formula is quite pigmented and you can have a little product go a long way, and that's really true. I've hardly used the first pump. It was not even a full pump and I still have a lot of product remaining on my hands. So I'm just going to apply the same on this side as well. I wish this product was a better shade for me. And I think if you'd want more coverage, you can do more of a stippling action. So this is what the foundation looks like on my skin. I do think it's given me quite a medium coverage. It has covered up the most of the discoloration that I have from my acne scarring right here on my cheeks, which is good. It has covered up the redness on my nose, around my nose, except for maybe at the bridge right there, where most foundations don't like to stay for some reason. What I'm going to do is try and see if I can layer a bit more of the foundation just on the nose to see if it's buildable. But based on how the formula feels, I think it is buildable. So I'm just going to take whatever's left on my hand, which is pretty much gone. Just going to pat it on those areas. So it does seem to layer quite nicely on the skin. So I do think once you have the right shade, you can use the foundation to get a full coverage, and also you can use it as a concealer as well, just to layer it up, and it'll match really nice with the rest of the foundation. So overall, I think the foundation is medium to full coverage, which is quite true. Now, if you were to use or mix emollient moisturizer with it, I do think you can reduce the coverage. So go from light to medium coverage, if that's what you want. So it's about 11 a.m. here. I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup, try and even out my face to my neck and body, and I'll be right back. Next, moving on to the color correctors. These little compacts are called the Magic Vanish Under Eye and Face Cheat for intense color correction. Now again, this product and its composition has 4 key ingredients. The first one is flavonoids, magic flavonoids, which are meant to diminish appearance of under eye puffiness. And I think they did mention that within 4 or 5 hours of applying this corrector, you do see a significant reduction in the under eye puffiness. Now, I don't have particularly puffy under eyes, but I can see why that would be a really good thing to have in an under eye corrector. Next, it has carnauba wax, I guess, which is supposed to give it a silky smooth application, and I have to agree with it. You can take a really small amount, I'm going to show you. So I've taken about this much, but you can spread it out so much to give it a really smooth and easy kind of a finish. You can see how sheer it can become, or you can apply it, I guess, full on. So that's how much I had taken, and you can see how much more sheer it is when I have blended out. It was very smooth to blend as I applied under my eyes, and that's also with a brush. And also I've applied some to the outer corners of my mouth, as you can see in the demo. It also contains mica, which is supposed to give it a luminous brightening effect. I'm not sure if these deeper shades do that, but I have seen people use the lighter shades 1 and 2, and I think those shades particularly do have a beautiful brightening effect. Lastly, it's supposed to have microspheres, which give a perfect skin finish. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds good. This was tested on 120 women, and 98% agreed that it lifts the look of under eye bags, which is good. I did enjoy the product, and I've used it under the Magic Away Concealer in number 8, and as you can see, it looks really nice. And because of the coloring and how pigmented the product is, yet at the same time how sheer you can make it depending on how much you apply and how you blend it out, I think it is promising for a lot of tan skin tones, whether you have dark circles or you do not have too much of dark circles like me. 100% agree dark circles was visibly neutralized, and I do think that can be true. The shades look really lovely for different skin tones. 99% agree smooth look of skin. When I did apply it on my skin, it did crease in the line that I have under my eye because I had not set it with powder, but once I blended it out and applied my concealer and set it with the powder, it looks quite smooth, I think. What do you guys think? But I don't know how much I would attribute that just to the corrector itself. I think it's a combination of using the corrector, concealer, and of course using a good setting powder. 96% agree it's a crease-proof formula. Again, I think this depends on what or whether or not you use an eye cream with it. I did use an eye cream. That's something I do almost on an everyday basis. And as you'll see in the demo portion, this did crease on me before I went in with concealer and powder. So as you can see, I don't have much of dark circles. What I do have is some darkness right here in this inner corner. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the corrector there. but I do have darkness right at the corners of my mouth where it tends to go down, kind of making my mouth look droopy, so I do like to correct that. So in terms of size comparison, this is their Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder and this is their new Magic Vanish Corrector. So it's about maybe 1/3 the size of the powder, I would say. What I was told about this corrector is that it starts off cream, but it does set to a powder finish. So let's give this a go. I'm going to use my Hakuhodo brush. This doesn't have a number anymore. I'm just going to take a little bit of the corrector and just apply it to that area which has that discoloration. This particular product does blend out quite nicely. I did play around with this product yesterday because I didn't want this video to be like a first impression, although it is quite early for me to review this product, but I did want to get it out there since it's going to launch next month. And then I'm also going to add a little bit right to that inner corner of my eye. And then what I was remaining, I'm just going to blend it right here. Same with the other eye. That's a corrector. It blended in quite nicely. And I think you do get a decent size amount. Unfortunately, I do not know the price, so I can't give you in terms of price per gram. But it's a pretty beautiful shade, especially as a blush. That's what I'm most excited to use this shade as. For my under eyes, you can see that the corrector is right there. And it has creased because it's been about like 10 minutes or so since I've applied it and I've not set it. But I'm going to use the Magic Away concealer. I have the shade 8. And then to set that with powder, I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder in the shade Banana. So, just going to take a small amount and start patting under my eye. And that is pretty much enough for me. Just going to set it quickly with the Huda Beauty powder. So that is what the eye looks like. I'm going to repeat it on the other eye and then I'm going to come back to show you how you can use the corrector as a blush. It did do a beautiful job at color correcting, especially under my eye where I don't have much discoloration, but even though I've used such an ashy shade of foundation, my corners don't look as bad as they would without this corrector. So I think it's a corrector that really works. So that is what that blush looks like. Let's see how it looks. It is pigmented, so we are to apply a small amount. And I'm not too worried if it looks a little too dark because we're going to apply powder on top, so the color will get subdued. And also, as you're patting on your skin, the redness from your skin does come through as well. But it blends beautifully. It's a beautiful shade, so you can use it as a blush other than the corrector. Especially if you get this or the shade that's up from here. It's a beautiful deep red shade, I think, and I'm definitely going to add that to my freelance kit. So a little bit more. Okay. So this is what the foundation looks like once I have the rest of my makeup on. It feels very lightweight, almost like I don't have anything. Nothing is kind of restricting the skin. You know, like some foundations when they have medium to full coverage, you can almost feel them on the skin like they're heavy. This one does not feel like that, which is fantastic. And secondly, I think once I've added quite a bit of bronzer and a different powder, it kind of marries in more with my neck and chest, I think. So I have not set my face with any setting spray, and for powder I had to use a different one because I did want to get the coloring right. But if you can see that, foundation does not exaggerate any texture, at least on my skin anyway. This is what that looks like. So I'm going to set my face with some setting spray, and once that dries, I'm going to go ahead and use also the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I'm going to use my Scandinavia Oil Controls Finishing Spray because I have quite oily hair. Don't want any more water in it. I have a fan in this direction, so I'm just going to face that while this dries. Okay, now that we have the finishing spray on, I do think some of the powderiness or the matte finish has kind of gone away. The skin looks like skin, which is fantastic. The foundation does not feel heavy on the skin at all. I've told you that before. It feels like I don't have anything on, or maybe like a moisturizer on. It's a very lightweight formula for sure. So now I'm just going to set the T-zone of my face with the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This is something I usually do anyways after my setting spray, just because I feel like the texture kind of comes back once I use the setting spray. So I definitely love this powder as a finishing spray once I'm done with everything. So I pat it in right here. The shade I'm using is medium. You can see how much more smooth my skin looks where I have powdered it compared to this side, where you can still see some of the texture in my skin. So I do prefer this because I do have oily skin and my oil will come through eventually. So I'm just going to repeat that. I like to run this over also on my acne scarring right here on my cheeks so that it minimizes their texture. And then take down the shine on my chin, nose, and the center of my forehead. So this is what my skin looks up close with the foundation and the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. Now for the wear test, I'll be back around the 4-hour mark, I think, which should give you an idea of how well it's doing on my skin. Now again, I have oily skin, so I am expecting my oils to come through. That is with any foundation, especially because I have not used any primer underneath. It's just moisturizer, and I do have to blot throughout the day anyway with any foundation. So let's see how this foundation fares. So it's been 4.5 hours since I've applied the foundation, and this is what my skin looks like right now. My cheeks look quite fine, but I can see oil coming through the T-zone. So what I'm going to do is blot my face quickly with the blotting sheet and then reapply the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder just in the T-zone. I'm using the NYX matte blotting papers. You can see the oil coming through. It's quite a bit. And then for my nose and around my nose, I'm going to take a second one. This one's pretty full. And then just going to run it across the rest of my face as well. Okay, so 2 blotting sheets later, I think the skin has returned to a matte finish actually. Now the foundation has kind of settled right there, but that's with any foundation for me. It's quite common. Otherwise, everything else looks good. Everything is in place. I don't think I've lost any coverage from blotting. So what I'm going to do is just apply a light layer of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder to my T-zone. So this is up close after blotting and powdering. And if I didn't mention, I just wanted to re-emphasize that the foundation feels very lightweight on the skin. I can hardly feel like I have a full coverage foundation on. It feels very much like I have nothing on my skin, which is fantastic. Another important thing I'm loving about this foundation is it hasn't settled into my smile lines yet, which is very unusual. Usually almost 99% of foundations settle into my smile lines. This is the first one. I am so surprised by this. So that's just another pointer that I wanted to add at this check-in, but we'll see how it does at the end of the day. So the time now is 7:30 and it's been 8.5 hours since I've worn the foundation. And as at the 4.5 hour mark, I just feel like my skin is oily, but at the same time, I love how my skin is looking and how it's feeling, more importantly. I've just got back from walking Cooper, so in case I look a little sweaty, it probably is because of that as well. So again, I'm just going to quickly blot just to see how the skin looks in case I need to wear it for more than 8 hours. So let's do the blot test. I love that every time I blot, it returns back to the matte finish. It's almost like I freshly applied the foundation, which is crazy. Then once again, once I've finished blotting, this is what the skin looks like. It has stayed put. I am in love. What can I say? Just want to check up close on the smile lines. Wow. Zero settling into the smile lines. I don't know if you can tell on camera. It's brilliant. I think I found a new favorite foundation, at least once I get a good color match. I think this is a beautiful foundation. Even on my very oily skin, it has stayed put. I'm not sure how it would fare on really dry skin, but I do think all the other skin types are going to love it, especially if you have normal to combination skin. It's fantastic. All you have to do probably is just blot your T-zone, or if you have oily skin like mine, you just have to blot maybe every 4 hours or so, and you should be good to go. Again, even at this stage, I've worn it for 8.5 hours. It doesn't feel like I have anything on my skin. It feels very lightweight on the skin. You know, you can move around. It doesn't feel like the foundation is restricting your movement. Overall, I have nothing bad to say for this foundation except that the shade match was not good for me. That's just my personal experience. The foundation is beautiful. It gets a 10 out of 10 from me, which is quite rare, I would say. And I think it's the best Charlotte Tilbury base for combination to oily skin. All her other bases have been quite dewy. Even the Magic foundation on my skin doesn't do too well. It kind of moves around and comes off, especially from my nose area. But this one has stayed put. It's fantastic. As far as to say that it might replace the Estee Lauder Double Wear, both seem to wear quite similarly, but I like this one for how my skin still looks more like skin than the Estee Lauder, because that one tends to kind of dry around my mouth area, and also it feels heavy on the skin. You can feel that foundation, whereas this one just feels very lightweight. So a big thumbs up from me for this foundation. And as far as the corrector goes, I really have no complaints. The only thing I would argue against is the point that it doesn't crease. I do think it creases, especially on my skin type, because not only the under eye, where I did have the eye cream, I also see some creasing where I have applied the corrector right at the outer corner of my mouth. So that's just something to consider. If you have too many fine lines, maybe skip the eye cream during the day and then try this corrector. So I really hope you enjoyed this review. I'm sorry it's so long, but again, I will have timestamps below. But I just wanted to cover everything, and I am technically reviewing 2 products. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit that like button and also consider subscribing for more videos. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!